The Pittsburgh Steelers winners, and the Steelers improve to 6-2. Pittsburgh takes care of the Giants on Monday Night Football. The final, Steelers 26, the Giants 18. Welcome into the Bleav in Steelers postgame show. My name is Mark Bergin. We'll get into it in my reaction. Let's pay some bills first. Today's episode of Bleav in Steelers brought to you by betonline.ag. We are through 8 weeks of the NFL season. The World Series is underway. Basketball is underway. NHL is underway. If you want to get in on any of the sports action, betonline.ag is the place to do it. Head over to betonline.ag today to get started. BetOnline, the game starts here. Steelers winners tonight, and they take care of both New York teams. Let's get to some key plays. And the Steelers able to hold off the Giants. I thought Russell Wilson played very well in tonight's game. I'll get into what I think that the Steelers need to improve upon. But Russell Wilson and company in this offense are moving the football. Wilson, 20 of 28 tonight, 278 yards through the air and a touchdown. Najee Harris, 19 carries, 114 yards on the ground. George Pickens had 4 catches for 74 yards. Van Jefferson had 4 catches for 62 yards. Calvin Austin, 3 catches, 54 yards. Darnell Washington, a catch for 29 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some key plays in tonight's game. The strip sack by TJ Watt in the fourth quarter. Giants get the ball back. A really bad fumble by Russell Wilson in Steelers territory, and TJ Watt does what he typically does, and that's make plays off the edge, taking advantage of the one-on-one. And before this game, Giants right tackle Jermaine Illuminor was saying how he wanted the one-on-one matchups against Watt, saying, I want to be on an island with him all day. Are you sure? Are you sure? I wouldn't want to have to do that, because I look at TJ Watt's production since he came into the league in 2017. Most forced fumbles with 31, most strip sacks with 22, most in the NFL since his rookie year in 2017. TJ Watt making the case for why he should be Defensive Player of the Year. That dude just consistently makes plays, and he made it when the Steelers needed it most to shut the Giants down in this game. Now, even when the Giants scored a touchdown and they went for 2 down 2 scores, Alex Highsmith blew up the 2-point conversion play. I thought that was big. Calvin Austin, his coming out party tonight. 2 touchdowns, the 73-yard punt return score. Boswell perfect in the special teams game. So Danny Smith's special teams unit continues to dominate. And then he had the 29-yard touchdown reception. That's Calvin Austin, the third from Russell Wilson. Austin with 2 touchdowns tonight for the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the first half, 9-9 going in at halftime. The 2 big plays I thought in the first half. On that very first drive, Broderick Jones on the face mask penalty brought back what would have been a George Pickens touchdown. I thought it was a good call by the referee in that Jones held the defensive end for the Giants, and I thought that was a good call. And then that George Pickens touchdown in the first half as well, where he got 2 right feet down, but he didn't get both feet down. He didn't get the left foot. So 2 right feet, like almost like you're doing the hopscotch. That apparently doesn't count as a catch. You got to get both feet in bounds. Just looking at it, if you weren't looking at the feet at all, I've never seen a catch look more like a catch that wasn't actually a catch. It was almost like that Des Bryant Cowboys play from way back in the day. But by the letter of the law, if you need both feet in and not just 1 foot twice, I guess he wasn't in, and I guess the referees made the right decision. But I'm going to be honest with you, I was very confused by that play. And I thought that the Steelers were right to challenge that, even though the referees didn't rule in their favor. Those were my big thoughts from the game. But really, it's this when we're evaluating Russell Wilson's performance against the Giants. We're all excited about the Steelers' ability to move the football. You can tell that the skill position players have juice, and that he's giving them an opportunity when he throws the ball down the field to make plays. It's the pre-snap alignment. It's the decisiveness. It's the quick anticipation, getting the ball out quick, knowing what the defensive coverage is, knowing where to get. his guys the ball in space. The turnover and the fumble at the end, that cannot happen given the down distance and situation of the game. But the bigger issue with the offense right now is this. It's the red zone efficiency. Between the 20s, this offense has moved with Russell Wilson and company the past 2 weeks. I like what Russell Wilson we've seen from him, and it was the right decision to put him in at the quarterback position over Justin Fields, even though at the time I thought Fields should have kept his job. But I look at the red zone efficiency, and that's something that has to absolutely must improve. You go 0 for 4 in the red zone today for the Steelers. Now, they were lucky the Giants went 0 for 3, but against the best of the best in the NFL, settling for field goals as they did with Boswell. It's good to know that he's reliable, but you got to punch it into the end zone, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot with penalties, whether it's Broderick Jones or whether it's, hey, George Pickens. You've got to find a way to make that play and get both feet in bounds. So those are the things to where we see this final score is 26-18, but the Giants kept sticking around and sticking around and sticking around. I think that the Steelers vastly outplayed the Giants tonight, but it didn't show on the scoreboard because you didn't have the red zone efficiency that you needed. And if you watch Bleav in Steelers, you can go back and look at when we were talking in training camp, and I had my guy Joey Christopoulos on. He hosts a lot of Chicago Bears content. He watches a lot of Steelers football, watches a lot of NFL. And his number one storyline going into this year was, okay, yes, there's going to be conversation between Russ and Justin Fields, and that's fine. But what does this offense look like in the red zone to actually punch it in to score? Because that's going to make the difference. It might not cost you a loss tonight against the New York Giants, who frankly aren't very good, but against the better teams in the NFL at will. You've got to find ways to score touchdowns in those scenarios. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're able to get it done tonight, but the drives where you settled field goals, some of those need to be touchdowns. And this would have been even more lopsided. I think it would have been more like a score we saw a week ago compared to a one-score game tonight. And those are the things I think that the Steelers can improve upon, because I like what I've seen from Russell Wilson. Honestly, other than the red zone efficiency, my only other criticism would be that fumble late. But you're able to say, hey, defense, go make a play. And in Steelers territory, TJ Watt shows up yet again. TJ Watt tonight, let me pull up the box score because he had an absolutely terrific game. TJ Watt tonight had 7 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss. He had the strip sack and the fumble recovery in the key part of the game. And they also had the one drive where he and Alex Highsmith got back-to-back sacks to knock the Giants out of scoring range. I thought that was a huge play sequence as well. It's nice to see Alex Highsmith back on the field and healthy. He had 2 sacks tonight as well, 2 TFLs, 4 tackles for him. Joey Porter Jr. led the Steelers in tackles. He had 8 tonight. It's a tough assignment because this Giants receiver duo, Darius Slayton, 4 catches, 108 yards. Malik Neighbors, 7 catches, 71 yards. Hey, if the Giants are sellers at the deadline and the Giants are now 2-6, we talk about, hey, we need a receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wouldn't mind going to get Darius Slayton after seeing what he did tonight against this Steelers defense to put him opposite George Pickens. Hey, the November deadline's right around the corner. Would not mind seeing that from the Pittsburgh Steelers standpoint in terms of, hey, you need a receiver to go get. What about the guy you just played on Monday Night Football? Steelers now have won 22 consecutive Monday Night Football games played at home in Pittsburgh. An absolutely terrific stat. Najee Harris, too. 3 consecutive games of more than 100 yards rushing on the ground. Contract season, Najee. Mad Najee. Mad Najee. He's running hard. He's running hard. Let me get a drink of water really quickly. But the Steelers able to get it done 6-2 going into the bye week. I think you take that every single time if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers fan, especially considering how tough this back half of the schedule is going to be. You're entering a bye week. You go and get healthy. Justin Fields, who was QB3 tonight, I thought that was actually a really big storyline. Wilson plays the whole game, but Fields was QB3, the emergency quarterback. Kyle Allen was the backup. Fields, due to the hamstring injury, keep an eye on that. Hopefully the extra week to where everything's back to business, to where Fields is then the backup again in week 10 against the Commanders. And you're going to go up against Jaden Daniels, one of the NFL's best young rookie quarterbacks. And the schedule is going to get really tough. In week 10, you get Cam Sutton back, though, as well. But we're excited for tonight. Steelers now winners of 2 straight games, entering the bye week now at 6-2. A lot of people tuning in. We'll get to what Yins think here in just a second. Quick announcement, too. If you want to call into the show, that link is live in the YouTube chat to where you can share your voice. If you want to pop on here, add your 2 cents worth from what you thought of tonight's game, you're able to do that. You're also able to hop in the super chat as well. If you want to financially support Bleav in Steelers, we certainly appreciate that here. If you want to just leave a chat in the text as well, we're going to get to that now. It's part of what Yins think. Always like bringing in the viewers and the listeners here on Bleav in Steelers after a big Monday Night Football win. And I'll say this too before I get to what Yins think as well. This came across on the broadcast to me was how loud the fans were. I thought the fans have been terrific back-to-back weeks in prime time. And I thought it made a huge difference on delay of game penalties to where the Giants didn't know what the heck they were doing. I really thought the fans made a big difference in that the team rallies around that at time. That comes across to me watching on TV. I can't even imagine what it's like being there. An awesome atmosphere tonight at Acrisure Stadium. I thought the fans were terrific yet again for the Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of people checking in. Autumn saying, why was the game so close? The score should have been way higher. The Giants are not that good. Your first turnover came on the Russell Wilson fumble. And again, I go back to the red zone efficiency to where you're settling for field goals when you need touchdowns. And again, the 2 plays in the first half, the Broderick Jones face mask penalty, he committed the penalty and the ref made the right call there on the very first drive of the game. And then that George Pickens, what looked like a touchdown where he got his 2 right feet down, but not his left foot. It's got to find a way to make that play. If you make one of those 2 plays, you're talking about a 2-score game here. Autumn, thank you for checking in. But again, the thing I want to see the Steelers improve the most on is red zone efficiency. And it's like that did not happen tonight. That did not happen tonight, but it did not cost the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hannibal checking in, saying, what a way to go into the bye week with a 6-2 record leading the division. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Yes, a big weekend because the Steelers win and the Browns upset the Ravens, and then the Eagles absolutely crushed the Bengals. So it's nice to be atop the AFC North going into the bye week, and you can get healthy and you can get right for what's going to be a really difficult back half of the schedule starting in week 10 against Washington. Hannibal, thank you for checking in. Kevin saying, I'm not mad at Russ. I'll take whatever he has left in the tank to give this team. Broderick doesn't get that holding call, and Pickens didn't get both feet down. He let us downfield, and I'm happy. I'm with you overall, Kevin. And I think this offense just clicks with Russell Wilson on the field. I think Russ has played really, really well the past 2 weeks. And you got to give Mike Tomlin credit because a lot of people were questioning the decision to move to Russell Wilson over Justin Fields. And I think Fields made the most of his opportunity to definitively say he should be the starter. I was one of the people that thought Fields should have continued to start, but the way Wilson has played the last 2 weeks, I'll be the first to admit to say I was wrong. And I just think he's a veteran. He's in year 13. He's seen it all. He knows where to go with the football. He knows what the coverages are. He knows where his guys are going to be. How he gets from the quarterback center exchange when he's under center to get the ball to the running back, to get into the play action system. He just moves fast. He's definitive. He's quick. He gets the ball out quick. I mean, even the fumble, you're frustrated by the end, but that's a physical mistake. That's not saying, oh, I was confused by a coverage or, you know, the blitz got to me and I forced a throw that I shouldn't have. It was a physical mistake of him trying to make a play. That I can live with, that I can understand. And you're just not going to fool Russell Wilson at this point in his career And there's just facets to the quarterbacking position that comes with all the experience that he has. And he's even said it, like, he played pretty well a year ago in Denver. That first year in Denver when Nathaniel Hackett got fired and they had the worst offense in the NFL. Russ had a torn lat as well. And I'm not trying to make excuses, but the play calling wasn't great. He still has some gas left in the tank. Now, what does that look like against better competition in the back half of the season? Let's see him do it again. But back-to-back weeks, if you're the Steelers, you've got to like what you've seen from Russ, considering you put up 30-plus points a week ago. While it's 26 tonight, if you convert one more of your red zone opportunities that you didn't tonight, you're plus 30 again. And the defense able to at least shut it down and get it done late in the game. Even though you had to rely on Chris Boswell, who's been nearly automatic this year. It's my understanding Boswell's only misses from 60-plus this year. And Danny Smith and the special teams. Last week, it was a block. This week, it was the Calvin Austin punt return. So that special teams unit has been terrific this season. And a lot of that's Chris Boswell. Tonight, it's the punt return by Calvin Austin III. 2 touchdowns for the Steelers tonight. And they needed that jolt too, considering before the game, Steelers put Roman Wilson, their rookie receiver, on IR. You might need to go get another receiver just for having another physical body, but who can complement George Pickens tonight? Calvin Austin III made the most of his opportunity. Chad checking in, saying 29-yard pass downfield to Washington. Soft hands, looks good finally. Yeah, like, let's get the guy who's like, what, 6'7", almost 300 pounds. What is he listed at, like 280, 290? The football. I love that Darnell Washington is part of the passing game now in the play action pass. And if you're a defender, when you see a guy of that stature coming down at you full speed, I wouldn't want to tackle him. Oh, man. But yes, love them getting Agent Zero, as he was known at Georgia. Darnell Washington, Mount Washington, the football. Chad, thank you for checking in, and I agree with you. Deuce checking in. Good win. Why don't they get Pat more active? He's talking about Pat Freiermuth there. Pat Freiermuth, 2 catches tonight, 19 yards. He was only targeted twice. Wouldn't mind seeing Pat Freiermuth more involved in the passing game. But look, when I look at the stats overall for Russell Wilson, 278 yards. He had 4 sacks, 1 interception, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He had that fumble as well. Wouldn't mind seeing Pat Freiermuth utilized more in the passing game. Deuce, I'm with you, but it doesn't really matter tonight. Chilla21 checking in. We're such a well-rounded team. We really beat ourselves with done mistakes. If we would have had it all together, the score would be much higher. I'm with you. And again, to me, that's the red zone efficiently. Chilla, thank you for checking in. Temple, long-time viewer of the Bleav in Steelers show, saying, great win. No easy wins in the NFL. Totally agree that the red zone efficiency needs to improve for the back half. That's the number one thing, and that's probably my number one takeaway tonight. Between the 20s, Russell Wilson's been borderline very good to great, but how you get to great is punching it in the end zone. That, to me, is the biggest difference from what I've seen with the Steelers team of what could take them to the next level. But to me, it's the body language of the players, too. It's hard to quantify that, but like getting guys like Van Jefferson involved, George Pickens, how he's really starting to take off and flourish as a receiver. And it's that buy-in. It's because Russ has done it before. And Russ cooked last week. He cooked again. And we can all eat Primanti Brothers sandwiches in celebration going into the bye week, because I would gladly take 6-2. And let me just go through the Steelers' schedule on the back half, because it's going to be really tough. But if you went 6-2 twice and you're 12-4, 12-5, maybe 13-4, you take that every time with how difficult this schedule is. So you got the Commanders in week 10. Again, Cam Sutton's going to be back from his 8-game suspension. You play Baltimore at home for the first time. Week 12, you've got on the road on Thursday Night Football against the Cleveland Browns. On the road against Cincy. Week 14 against Cleveland again. Then you've got on the road against Philly, place the Steelers haven't won in years. Week 16 on the road against Baltimore. Week 17, Christmas Day against the Chiefs, who are still undefeated at the time of this recording. And then Week 18 against the Cincinnati Bengals. So really tough on the back half of the year, and you get into the AFC North part of the schedule. Remember, the Steelers haven't played a division game yet so far this season, but they go into the bye at 6-2. And the way that this offense is moving the ball with Russ and company and with Najee Harris, I cannot express enough how much Najee Harris has impressed me the last 3 weeks. How hard he's running. He looks more nimble in the open field. The hurdle he had over the Giants defender tonight was terrific. I know he's in a contract season and what that does to him psychologically. I don't know if $6.6 million, if he's worth that as a running back in 2025, but maybe the Steelers can give him more guaranteed money over 2 years and he can be back in a Steelers uniform beyond this year because he has made the most of his opportunity. He is running like a madman this season. 3 straight 100-yard games. I've been very impressed. He cut some weight going into this year, and he had another great game tonight to where it really helped the Steelers move the ball offensively early. And only 9 points in the first half. I think that could have been a lot more if not for dumb self-imposed mistakes and opportunities that you have to be able to just punch it in the end zone. But Najee Harris has really, really impressed me, and what he's doing as this line starts to gel too. The Steelers' offensive line has not been great during Najee Harris's tenure, but the one thing I would say about this offensive line, which you've had several different iterations of this season due to injuries, but they've gotten better the more that they play together throughout the course of the season. And Najee's starting to be the beneficiary of that, to where if you look at the month-to-month splits of what he does as a running back since he's been in the league, this is year 4 now, typically his stats get better from month to month to month to month for the style of runner that he is, to where when you're playing in November, December, and January is when he's playing his best football. I think we're really starting to see that, and this has been his best season as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and it's going to project to his best season if he continues with this level of production. I have been extremely impressed with him. I know that the value of NFL running backs isn't there league-wide, and I know they're a dime a dozen. But Najee Harris has been very, very good the last 3 weeks. And I've seen the improvement that we've wanted to see from him coming out as a first-round pick out of Alabama. Now, should you draft any running back in the first round? I don't know, but remember when the Steelers drafted him, they were coming off of a season where James Conner is battling injuries, and it wasn't his lack of ability, it was his ability to stay on the field. But it was a season where the Steelers finished dead last in the NFL in rushing, and that's why the Steelers went and got him. And he's been reliable. He doesn't get injured. He's a good locker room leader. He doesn't fumble the ball. He's a good blocker. He's a good pass catcher out of the backfield. Is he elite? Probably not, no. But what he could do with a really good offensive line, we're really starting to see him showcase his ability as the line starts to gel more and more and more and more. Jaylen Warren's finally starting to get healthy, and it's a heck of a tandem. It's a great problem to have in the backfield. They're very good players. And if Najee can continue this level of production this year, maybe not an all-pro running back, but certainly capable of being a Pro Bowl running back with how he's performing this season for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and is deserving of whatever he gets from a contract, whether it's with Pittsburgh or another team beyond the 2024 season. I have been very, very impressed with him this year, and I cannot emphasize that enough. The last 3 weeks, I've seen him go up a level. His ability to break tackles, his ability to make plays in the open field, to go north and south, and to understand what his skill set and what his strengths are, and to be able to bust out longer runs than we've seen. I know he's a chain mover. I know he's not a guy that's going to take it 80 plus, 50 plus, take it the distance as just a pure burner. But Najee Harris, a pro's pro. And yet again tonight, I thought he was a difference maker for this Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Russ checking in. Few more of what yins think. I want to get to Russ's commentary. Oh, you know what? I can't believe this. We're 25 minutes in. Before I get to you, Russ, I promise I will. Beanie Bishop with the game-clinching interception. 3 picks for the undrafted rookie in the past 2 weeks. Kudos to you and the number 31. Beanie Bishop putting the game away for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russ checking in and saying, TJ always comes through. Game-saving interception by Beanie. Once again, great halftime adjustments. Now outscored teams 53-0 in third quarter. Russ spread that ball around. Great game by Van and Calvin. I'm going to need to double check that third quarter spread by the Steelers, but I know they've done a great job at making halftime adjustments. If that stat is correct by you, Russ, that's a good call, but I know the Steelers definitely have, coming out of halftime, have a plus scoring differential come in the second half, particularly in the third quarter coming out of halftime. If that stat is accurate, that is outstanding for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Russ saying he'd give up a number 1 pick for DK Metcalf. I would not. I like DK Metcalf. I would not give up a number 1 pick, though, and I need to see how many years is left on DK Metcalf's contract. I know we want to see another stud receiver opposite George Pickens, that is, but I would not give up a number 1 pick. Russ, I do appreciate your comments, and thank you for checking in. And Russ thinks that the Steelers are going to go to the Super Bowl. I love the Steelers fans checking in, the Yinzers. I love it. I love it. I won't go that far, but to me, it's been the same litmus test. Let's go win a playoff game, folks. You're 6-2. You're sitting pretty. You're in a good spot going into the bye week. You double that, you're 12-4. Are you 12-5, 13-4 this season? I think a lot of us would take that. But when it gets to the postseason, let's go win a playoff game for the first time since January of 2017. Let's do it. Let's do it. And people are checking in and saying that stat Russ had of the Steelers in the third quarter, or the point differential 53-0, is accurate. That is incredible. That is incredible. Yancey checking in with the question saying, hey, Mark, did the bomb pass to Scotty Miller go through his arms, or was I seeing things? A little bit. I thought it was a little bit underthrown. That's kind of how Russ typically throws his deep balls, to give his receivers a chance to run under it. Pass interference plays. Maybe there could be a little bit more air on it. You don't want to overthrow your guy. Scotty Miller can make a play, but he's not in the mix as much as, say, Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, George Pickens. So, you know what? Trying to make a play, sometimes you make them, sometimes you don't. Yancey, thank you for checking in. Thank you for the question. Alex checking in saying, Broderick plays uncomfortable on the right side. He's just athletic enough to play it, and he doesn't play bad. Yeah, I mean, look, ideally you'd want to move Broderick Jones over to left tackle, and then Fautanu, your rookie out of Washington, was going to play right. Washington's done for this. Fautanu out of Washington is done for the season. So the Steelers are going to play Broderick at right tackle, Dan Moore Jr. in the final year of his deal at the left tackle position. He's going to be at the left side. And I think Dan Moore Jr. has played fine this year. He's going to get a nice contract from somebody. It probably isn't going to be from the Pittsburgh Steelers beyond the 2024 season. It's fine. A lot of teams need a left tackle in this league. But yeah, a lot of people, I mean, Broderick Jones, look, I think naturally he'd be more comfortable playing at left tackle. But I mean, this is going back to what we talked about in training camp. Steelers winners tonight, 26-18 against the Giants. I'm going to be back on this feed probably heading into week 10 against the Commanders, unless the Steelers make a trade between now and the November 5th trade deadline. So if the Steelers do make a blockbuster trade for a receiver, I will be back on this feed. But like the Steelers with the bye, a little bit of a break here on the Bleav in Steelers show. If there is big news, we'll be back live here on this feed. But Steelers are in a bye going into week 9. And again, they'll play the Commanders on the road on November the 10th. Got a 1 o'clock Eastern kickoff for that. It's going to be a lot of fun to see what the Steelers could do in trying to slow down Jaden Daniels. They do a really good job against the Baltimore Ravens, against Lamar Jackson, who would be kind of the comp you would make for the skill set and the ability that Daniels has with his mobility. But I think he might even be a little bit better of a passer. And it's going to be a fun one to see if they can slow him down. And the Commanders, who are one of the good, bright young teams in this league atop the NFC East division. So what you can do in week 10, but you enter the bye week at 6-2 atop the AFC North, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a really nice start to the season for Pittsburgh. My name is Mark Bergin. Thank you so much for all of you checking in. I want to thank today's presenting sponsor, betonline.ag. Do me a favor, Apple and Spotify, 5 stars and 5 stars only. And on YouTube, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on the Mark Bergin YouTube channel. Hope all you have great rest of your nights, great weeks. We're going into Tuesday and a victory Tuesday after a Monday Night Football win. Steelers, winners tonight, 26-18 against the Giants. I'll see you next time here on the Bleav in Steelers show again. My name is Mark Bergin. Until then, take care. So long, everybody.